righty. Let's get this reading going. Okay. That's the last name. Okay, so I will be in share mode a good amount of time. Move this over here. And go back and forth. So yeah. Okay. First of all, happy birthday. Let's pull the aspect grid. So you have oh wow, we like literally just like me. I'm a Pisces sun, Sag moon. You're a Sag sun, Pisces moon. So yeah, interesting. You got Regulus, Mars, okay. Rising, Mars, square up to Saturn, unaspected Mercury. All right, cool. So, okay, first of all, the big question, what is the relationship between your sun and your moon? Your sun being the core, identity, the core essence of who you are, the moon being what runs the show beneath the surface, your emotional needs, the more feminine side of your nature. In my eyes, it's most important. It's not like it's like, I say it's like 51 to 49. But I think it's the most important. Because if you don't follow your moon sign, it's very hard to feel happy and feel secure. So moon and Pisces, but then there's a square, so it's a 90-degree angle, which basically speaks to there being tension between these two different parts of you. So obviously it's something that I know very well because I have the same energy. And so the Sag sun in the 4th house, it's someone who likes to explore and learn, very open-minded. Although the Mercury combust can, in its own aspect, it can, at a lower vibe, make someone a little bit dogmatic. Just the potential, like kind of like my philosophy is the philosophy, and not willing to listen to other people. But yeah, having Pisces with Sag, like the big conflict is that there's one side that wants to be very just sit at home, it's all about the imagination. It's extremely empathetic, compassionate, more introverted. So there's a great need for alone time. Obviously, like Looper's a Pisces sun, so that's like one of the best synastry aspects to have when someone's sun is conjunct with the other person's moon on the same sign. But you're 94, so that means Saturn turn coming up pretty soon. Maybe like the end of next year or something like that. But basically, or yeah, even maybe April. I don't know. It's coming up. And like the struggle is like that there's one side that is totally down, just sit around home, home and meditate all day, or be in imaginary realms and kind of stick to yourself. There's a big need for isolation, a big need for being able to express this kind of more abstract side of yourself. And it's also very creative and just different, right? So a very go with the flow person. So both of you guys have mutable suns and mutable moons. So that's cool. But yeah, the conflict there, I mean, they both have, like either way, you're someone who definitely wants to, who wants to travel, who wants to learn, who's very open to meeting people from all over and learning things, different types of philosophies, whether it's something like astrology or just anything, anything that can expand your what you consider grand truth. So let's see over here. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's the conflict that I've had to live through forever, is just like one part being very adventurous and one part wanting to, be life of the party, social, outgoing, all about laughing and moving around, exploring in a more external, extroverted, kind of fiery way. That's Sag, the fire sign. And then another side that's way more just like, it can get like impacted very easily by just whatever is around them, especially the people and the environments really have a massive effect. So super important to choose the right people. And animals can be very healing for sure. Just as a little random thing. But yeah, to kind of feed both of those mouths, as I say, I think that there's that need to have those experiences, those Sagittarian experiences that kind of get you out of your comfort zone, and you're learning, you're social, you're this and that. But then also to know that you'll have periods of time that you'll probably need to have isolation. And that not everyone will understand this aspect of you, especially since you're ascendant in Virgo, which is like what people see, your outer personality. Virgo is it's all about structure, order, cleanliness, and Virgo risings can be, a little bit more reserved. Like they're great observers. They like to kind of scope things out before just going all in. They like to they're very analytical. So Chiron there also in the first house can indicate in Virgo potentially. Let me see one sec. Something with a mother, perhaps. Not necessarily something like super crazy, but um, difficulty with expressing yourself. Yeah, difficulty with expressing the the throat chakra, with opening up and in that type of way, and that authentic way, and just speaking your truth, I guess you could say, and perhaps having a mother or whoever the the nurturer was, um give kind of pushback, I guess you could say, to the way you see the world. And yeah, there could also be some kind of karmic emotional pain related to that relationship. And Saturn's right on the descendant, seventh house cusp, so that typically makes someone not have their most serious relationships till the period you're in, like right now, the Saturn, or you're approaching the Saturn return. I would give a warning for you guys, because in March Saturn will transit back into the seventh, so it could be a difficult time with different restrictions. So if there's not like a full freedom in the relationship, um, it is like there are some people who say, for people who have Saturn in the seventh house, to kind of either not get in like serious relationships, or get married. It's more about marriage. Until after the Saturn return, because the transit goes to the seventh and then the eighth, and it can be difficult. But just having awareness. Nothing in astrology is. I mean, there are very few things that are like fated, but everything can be overcome. And yeah, it's just like knowing that there can be some restrictions and some bumps in the road that come up, and to just get past them, basically. To just know about them, and yeah, know about them and see them as that, as opposed to something that's like permanent. Also, there's like a ton of fate when it comes to your relationships, romantic relationships. You're really meant to learn a lot and grow a lot through them, like in like a very like it's not always the prettiest way, but it is an asset though. Like you really, you know, you're here with your North Node Scorpio conjunct Venus to form very deep bonds, and I guess you could say overcome, like, yeah, it's like shadow work, like in relationships, that's like kind of the arena that gets done in. But past life wise, there has been this reluctance to be open-minded and to take risks as it relates to the what I call traveling physically or traveling metaphorically. So that's why you are a Sag in this life. You have all that Sag energy. 1 second. So yeah, really here to open up. Yeah. And so not too many tough aspects. Mars square Saturn can be rough, but that's when it's gets a lot easier, like now or coming up. And or Mars opposite. Mars in the 12th, on Regulus, which is one of the royal stars. I have it as my rising. You have it as your Mars. And I talk about it a ton on my Instagram because it's super, super important. It's one of the most fortunate stars, if not the most. Probably that and Aldebaran. And you have to have it like really, really close to a planet for it to actually do anything. And with Mars, it tends to be very good for public prominence and being a great leader, being able to achieve your goals. It can make someone kind of bossy though, which can extend to the love life. She's like a really strong, almost like militant kind of energy, which you mix with the rest of your chart. It's like, all right, well, there's a lot of fire, but fire is the spark that's needed to really move things forward, especially like stuck energy. So in the 12th house, though, it's really important to find spirituality or whatever your version of that is, because what can happen is there can be these kind of I guess you could say like people can kind of feel like Regulus Mars 12th house can just do shit and they just like don't know why they did it. Like it's just kind of self defeating behavior, and it really takes when you really learn true self love, that can be overcome, which with your North Node or in Venus and North Node in which Venus is about love obviously, but it's starts with self love, then it gets extended outwards. So to have it with the North Node in Scorpio, basically you learn a lot through your relationships, as I already said. I repeat things in my readings and they're important. That sometimes it's like these really intense, I would say like death, rebirth, transformation, like that process. It really happens in that area of life. Now because this is a conjunction, not like a square in opposition, it's not like super harsh or like fuck, it just I actually have the same thing. Mine's just an Aquarius. So like the conjunction of these two down here. So it just, with some other parts of your chart that I'm seeing, it just means that like the love life stuff is very, very faded. But then Saturn, which is on the descendant, which is a really good indicator, is trine the South Node. South Node is like past lives. North Node is like where you're trying to get to like for the most soul growth in this lifetime, right? So South Node in Taurus, North Node in Cancer. They're always opposite signs. So when you have a planet that's on the North Node, it means it's opposite the South Node. So Saturn, one thing at a time. So Saturn trining that means that when you do, get into those right relationships, the ones that are really, really meant for you, there's this real ability to stick with it. It's like the glue that holds relationships together through tough times. You can really like be committed in relationships. Which is awesome. Now, back to the South Node though, like the passive tendencies, like I said, it's to be a little bit rigid and maybe a little bit stubborn in terms of like taking risks. not wanting to take risks. So risks in the sense of like I don't want to say spiritual risks, but risks that can lead to you growing on like a spiritual level. It's kind of like the energy of someone who just kind of stays in the same place and everything's all good, you know. It's not even geographic, but yeah, just not there's almost like a fear to do things that would definitely benefit them and give them like new experiences, because there's like this fear of like, you know, if I do this, then I might lose that. It's like, for example, yeah, like leaving the place that you're from is an example that comes to mind, right? And as a Sag, there's lots of energy around wanting to experience the world, wanting to travel, wanting to see different cultures. So it's very important, and that's why I think you got you know, you're a compatibility reading. But I know Cooper's chart is Gemini Moon. That does work really well. Because you know you guys moon square each other, but basically, you know, you guys are both very curious people, and there is that kind of like intellectual connection and that fun connection, and the freedom, right? Because as a Sag in Pisces moon, you need so much freedom and so much space. You can't feel, so it takes like someone like who has like Pisces energy to really understand that. A lot of people just don't get it, and they're just like, oh, you're just too sensitive. Because the moon is hidden and you have a Virgo rising, you might appear way more, I don't want to say solid, but way more like uh what's the word, like way less like deep. You might not appear as deep as you are, like from people who just kind of know you casually. And then when you get to know people better, they, you know, can be surprised by like how sensitive and you know, how much you can be affected by energies, environments. Almost to the point to where like people who with Pisces moons, like they really need to like be in touch with their imaginations, right? And if they're not, if they're not, it can just get bad in the sense that they're just not satisfied and they're not happy. So it goes to this whole escapism thing, um, which is common with any Pisces placements. And the key is to have this, you know, escapist tendencies or whatever you want to call it that are healthy, right? Because Pisces can be very much, it's not to say don't drink any alcohol or don't do any of this or that, but you know, just to be measured with it. To have, yeah, you know, creative hobbies are a great thing. And just things in your life that are more right brain. Um, yeah. So, really, yeah, in this life, trying to find your voice, authentic voice. Um, you know, even if it means disappointing some people. I definitely see spirituality in your chart. I mean, like any North Node in Scorpio is in this lifetime trying to be more spiritual, I guess you could say. You know, they're here to really like dive deep into their shadow, and I think the area that happens is through these, you know, life-changing relationships. Um, and because of the Saturn trine, I really do think that like for example, let's say there's like a deep fight. I'm not talking about Looper at all. I have a very good skill of compartment, like being able to compartmentalize and just like you know, only focus on you. So I'm like, this reading, I'm telling you, like, this is a potential, like everything in the chart is a potential. How you manifest it with your free will, that's the answer. Like, there's a low and a high vibe for everything. You know, a high and a low manifestation. I'm gonna go put my camera back on for a little bit. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, with the Scorpio North Node, yeah, just letting go of past life tendencies to be a little bit more like adverse to change, against change. You know, like, especially because it's ruled by Venus in which, you know, your South Node ruler is conjunct your, don't worry about the lingo, but basically your South Node ruler, which is Taurus, or which is Venus because it's Taurus, is conjunct your North Node, which, fuck, what did it say? I don't like to reference, I swear. Hold on. I had a really good explanation here. Was it 148? Yes, it was exactly 148. So it was not, it was ruler, I think, ruler of the nodes conjunct nodes. Yeah. Okay. So okay, check it. Yeah, okay, I now remembered it. So basically it's saying that, like, you're okay, well, I'll just read it anyways. It's about, like, continuing, like, a past life process that was started. Anyways, okay, so when one of the nodes rulers is also conjunct one of the nodes, we see that the need to relive prior life experiences in the current life. Wait, that's all it had? But no, there's another one. Ruler of the North Node. No, it's ruler of the South Node conjunct the North Node. Yeah. So with the ruler of the South Node of the Moon conjunct the North Node, the necessity to repeat prior karma occurs early in life. In order to kickstart the evolutionary intentions for the future developments. This is a signature that expresses a need to relive explicit events or themes symbolized by the planet ruling the South Node, Venus, love, self-love mainly, which can be tough when you have Scorpio Venus. Where was it? So okay, yeah, ruling the South Node of the Moon, so then reliving them, the individual is propelled into the expression of the North Node intention, right? Which is the deep spiritual change. Esme, bring your ball here. It is as if a karmic theater replays a certain theme that the individual has already in prior lives begun to learn from, but in being replayed, the need to move forward is clarified once again. Yeah, interesting stuff. So, yeah, just like resistance to change, and just continuing, like, this soul shadow work, and just, yeah, being open to new possibilities always, right? And just being okay with letting people, places, environments go that are no longer serving you. That's really, really important and hard to do for a South Node. I don't know if you're from Portland. Yeah. Um, but yeah, it's all about, like, stripping away the old to make way for the new, and knowing, like, the whole idea that you need to let go of some things in order to make room for new and better things. And sometimes the South Node Taurus people, they'll just kind of stick with the known, and then that kind of keeps them away from all that. Now with the ninth and third house kind of axis in the nodes, that's really about leaving behind, like, basically just a child's mind. Like, I don't care how much you know or you think you know, like, entering each day with that idea of, like, I don't know shit. My mind is flexible, open to hearing different people's reality. The idea that different people have different truths. Of course, like, a big part of your life is about finding like how do you say it? Like finding ultimate truth. That's like what Sagg is all about, right? So that's kind of the conflict going back, with the conflict between your sun and your moon, is that the moon, it can in Pisces it can be like the dreamer, the person that just stays in their house or whatever, like it's stuck in their the imaginary realm. It's in the seventh house, so there you have to watch out for like codependency issues potentially, not major, right? Um, but but like there can be the tendency to take too much of your emotional fulfillment from relationships. Um, but then the Sag, it's all about the adventure, and the only way you really like learn about all these things is through these quests. Now the combust, Mercury, which is also, so you have combust Mercury, which means it's within 5 degrees, but not close enough to be a Cazimi. Don't worry about the language. Of the sun, 2 degrees away. It's actually not a great thing. It's unaspected. Has nothing to do with intelligence. It just means that you might lack objectivity. It might be a little bit overly blunt, which can, be difficult, obviously. Although it does, would I count that? I would. You know what? I would. My program is not giving the square of the moon, but it's definitely squaring the moon also, which is another important one. Because it's 7 degrees, so it's not like right on there. Hold on, what's it doing? What is my VPN fucking? Um, yeah. So basically, Mercury square Moon. I mean, it just means that there's like this tension between emotions, like heart, emotions, and mind. Um, So there's this like constant like back and forth between like thoughts and feelings, which one, which should you trust, right? Um it can be like a sign of like a creative, intellectual, very, very high level in that respect, but it can be difficult, right? In the personal life. Um Basically like anything you feel like super strong about or strongly about, can kind of just I don't even know how to explain it. It's like um it can make someone like very very, very argumentative, and come here. Yeah, it can make someone also care too much about what other people think of them, although that is usually um isn't like that very much. um and it can cause in relationships like sometimes communication issues. So yeah, just having, it gives lots of wit, charisma, all that stuff. But yeah, it's really important to kind of like just have communication, especially during times where there's disagreements that isn't toxic. um Now Jupiter on the IC is really nice. I'll go into that a little bit. So Mars, 12th house Mars, as I was saying already. Some people who have that, they feel like their sense of power is like somewhat eroded. They can get these like emotional outbursts out of the blue, as I was saying. And it's really important for them to have some level of spirituality, getting back, in their life where they may like feel like kind of like a vague, kind of lost of direction kind of type energy. And Mars and Leo on Regulus is, like I said before, it's very, very creative. You have a strong need to express that creativity. It can be a little bit dramatic, a little bit bossy, and at a lower vibe, it can be arrogant. However, you know, it is opposite Mars, so that will like kick a lot of that away. And also, it can be a frustrating one because you're like pulled between like expressing your energy and then pulling it back, like the creative energy. Like sometimes there's like super assertive, sometimes like, just held back. There can also be this feeling of taking one step forward and then get pulled 2 steps back. But coming up to the time now, your Saturn return, that's where you really start to move, like the Saturn negativity moves away, and you still have this like really intense determination, doesn't go away, and the bullshit goes away. And a lot of times it's like from like a father figure that like kind of restricted your independence when growing up. So but it's very prominent in the charts of like very successful, even celebrities. Even like the Mercury moon one is as well. And yeah, you also have Jupiter on the IC, so that means it's opposite the midheaven, and you have a few elements that like are, I don't really say a lot, but like kind of fame potential. You have what I have, which is part of fortune right on the midheaven, stuck on it. Which basically, it just gives a ton of ability to have lots of success in career and lots of luck and lots of like you really feel your best when you found your purpose in life. In Gemini, what's interesting, midheaven in Gemini, you can have like 2 different careers, which is awesome. So you can have like the hobby, I always give the example, let's say you get like really into astrology and studying it, right? And then the passion, and over time, or no, I just said the passion and the hobby, or passion slash hobby, and then the money maker. But then but you have the ability to like have like changes in career, and you really want to like, be very active in your career slash dharma. I like midheaven and Gemini a lot. And the Virgo rising gives this, it's really good because as a I'm not jealous because I love my Leo rising, but um you know being Virgo rising, that balances off, so the whole like that gives you some earth, which like this is the difference between me and you, or one of the big differences, right? Earth is what balances us, right? It's what gives us a ground. I have like big emotional problems. Not emotional, just like mood disorder type shit. Mostly right now because of this transit that's fucking me. Which you don't have. You passed it. You have it on your moon right now, but it's not a square like mine. But Neptune still can be a little bit confusing, but I would think it would be probably very, very spiritual time, spiritual awakening potentially. But anyways, that's not the point of this reading. Yeah, I think it just gives like a sense of like duty, organization, ability to kind of like organize your life, your routine, so you can really, yeah, like like kind of have like some level of consistency, and it's really good for being able to, like Earth, I think of as like energy where you can like wake up each day and kind of, you know, obviously not everyone is like the same person every day, but yeah, like it does give like a certain kind of consistency. So, and it's a mutable sign. So you have triple mutable. So it's like a elemental grand chime with a big 3, or a T square, I mean, what am I talking about? And you know, the way it gets channeled is through the career, the 10th house, through what you're doing for the world. Um, so yeah, it makes one really kind of precise, but you have to also watch out for like some people with Virgo rising can like, just be really like almost like very like overly critical. Go back to the chart. They can be like overly critical, but then like of like the one little thing that's off in their friend's apartment, and then their apartment's dirty. So it's just a funny thing I've seen. But a lot of times, they're very orderly, and it's yeah, it allows them to makes Mercury your ruling planet, which, like I said, it's combust. So yeah, just a need to really like ask, to really understand, like, yeah, ask other people's opinions, to not just think that you know everything, and just to understand that, like, even like the big frustration that Sag people have, myself included, although I've gotten past it thanks to astrology, or the awareness that astrology gave me, I would say most likely, or most prominently, is that like once you learn something like that you're really interested in, a lot of Sag people are like, they want everyone that's important in their life to know about this too, right? And they'll just push it and push it and push it. But the lesson is like everyone comes to their own truth at their own time. So yeah, Jupiter and the IC really, really nice down here in Sag. It's like really, really good for, just someone who is a seeker of truth. You know, no surprise that is the case. Just wisdom in general. But yeah, it's really good for someone who just wants to experience a lot, and it's like the best thing for being like a spiritual teacher, if you want to call it that, or someone who can really like kind of teach people a lot about philosophy. It's the best place for Jupiter to be in, and it's on your IC, so that usually speaks to a really nice childhood, um, or at least a childhood where you benefited a lot, in whatever way. Um, you felt a sense of expansion through the childhood experiences, and it gives you this kind of inner well of optimism that you can tap into, during tough times. It makes for a very optimistic person, which then has an effect on the career that's very good, and it's really good for home life too, um, inner emotional life. It's just a really nice karmic aspect for, yeah, being optimistic and having good luck, especially, yeah, with domestic matters for sure. Also, you'll probably like large houses, large spaces. Um, and then with your moon in water, living close to the water, or like, water in general, like taking baths, stuff like that, very nice. Just visiting bodies of water, it really helps kind of put you at peace, one could say, and gives you, these intuitions that can come to you, and gives more emotional balance, because, the Pisces moon can really struggle with, even with the Virgo rising, with that balance. So That's some important stuff. And what else can I say about Pisces moon, Sag? Yeah, it's just frustrating because it's like people you know, Looper knows, I don't know if you guys will watch this together, but like you know, I would always, like in college and stuff, I was like big Mr. Party, and like that was like totally my Sag side coming out, you know. But then my Pisces side was like being shut out, you know, like for the most part, which is like this really deep part of me, very compassionate, um, and that ultimately kind of led to my downfall. Not, you know, not total downfall, obviously. I'm here now, but like, you know, it led to lots of issues. Um, so as a female, it's definitely easier for sure. Um, because like it's not like, you know, men don't talk about their emotions, whatever. But yeah, I just think that overall feeding your sense of adventure, but then also like understand that, you know, you're gonna need more alone time than the average person, and to give yourself that kind of you know, how I look at it. Now, besides that, okay, one thing here. Mm, mm. Yeah, so yeah, diving into the Scorpio is not, it's not easy. But it starts with you know, yeah, finding that voice, finding your authentic voice, and not being afraid to be vulnerable, and to speak. Yeah, speaking about your emotions is huge, which can be hard for a Pisces moon, because they can feel things so deeply. And in relationships, yeah, just being able to communicate like, hey, I need time alone, I need to, like, you know, like have my own space, um is massive. um it's but overall it's a very fun mix. um and it's not such a difficult square. I mean, like it's mutable, so mutable is about going with the flow. So the hard squares are like the, you know, Leo and Scorpio, or Aquarius and, you know, Aquarius and Taurus, something like that. Fixed ones, those are the hardest ones. Um, but you know, because just like my chart, interestingly, the water is kind of dominated, I guess you could say. And because water is a way more chill, you know, and it's the moon, it's hidden, and the water is kind of like, yeah, it's less like out there, you know. It can definitely be a possibility that it gets held back and not expressed. So, you know, having avenues of self-expression is super, super key for you. Even if it's just like drawing or writing poetry that you don't show anyone, or filming yourself, like doing like a little trick that Neptune rules cameras. So like filming yourself doing like a little daily vlog where you express your emotions. Dream journaling, huge for Pisces moons. Like it can be like literally life changing. And yeah, just finding these little things that just work for you, because um it's not going to be like, you're way different. you're like me, you know, you're like me. It's funny. It's like Luper's like dating someone that's very similar than me. I'm just like surprised and like that's interesting. Like it's just like, I mean, obviously like we have like a lot in common. Like we have this Regulus, it's my ascendant, your Mars, and then we're both Pisces, Sag. Um, and it kind of stops there, but that's still quite a bit. Creativity. So when we talk about that, I just feel like you have this like having these two Uranus and Neptune there. It's like when you really allow yourself to go in that way, in that kind of creative way, um that's where great things can happen. um it's just about allowing yourself to do it and to let loose, and you can literally when you're able to kind of, because like Virgo risings can sometimes get in their own way with their heads because you're Mercury ruled, um and allow like the cognitive thoughts, self-limiting beliefs, things of that nature get in their way. But when you can kind of like get past that, um that's when the true magic can kind of show itself. So yeah, yeah. And Uranus in the fifth can, it can make one have like more unusual types of hobbies or creative interests. Um, and when you're like really in that creative process, like being able to like receive downloads, as I call them, just like intuitive flashes that just come through when you're, which is really, really cool. Um, and what else about the Neptune one? Yeah, just being able to really connect to, it trends your moon too. So just very, very deeply, deeply, deeply compassionate, imaginative person, and that's part of you that needs to be fed. Um, Always Saturn and Pisces people have like pretty intense karma that they're so the Saturn return that's coming is gonna be a very testing time. Um, mm, yeah, so like Mars, but then you have to watch out for this potential tendency to kind of go over the top. Um, the T square Mars Jupiter shoots out in Gemini, so yeah, it's like a lot is resolved through your career when you're really doing what you love and you're really passionate about it. That's kind of the resolution point of a lot of the more difficult parts of your chart. And yeah, but it's just like Mars Jupiter square, it's just like watching out to not be like it can make someone kind of a risk taker. So to not just be too like lay it all out, whatever happens happens, be more, make sure to be measured. And it's like energy of the person who walks in the casino and thinks they're automatically going to win. Major risk taker potential, but it's not like such a huge aspect. Um, mm, the so you can really benefit a lot through being of service, like anything humanitarian. I said like animals also sixth house, but yeah, anything humanitarian can be kind of like your doorway to higher awareness. I'm not saying like quit whatever you have going on and just only do charity, but just like little things, you know, like thinking about the metaphysical value that you bring to different situations, as opposed to like just the physical. And mm, Black Moon Lilith and Taurus. There you go. Perfect. So it's also close to midheaven. So like the lower energy, like you at your worst, your lowest, it can be like a tendency to kind of do that thing that's like where where you're not taking risks enough. I want to open one thing up. Where is this shit? So yeah, there can also be with Taurus Black Moon, there can be like a fear of poverty, and there can be like an obsession with wealth, material possessions, to feel like to fill some kind of void. Someone who like might judge other people around their attitude towards money. I don't sense that in you with your Pisces moon. You're probably like very, very just non-judgmental, and you see people for who they are. It might even be like really, really intense to where you at a young age you felt like you had to like shut it down in some way. Maybe the mother wasn't like accepting of it in some sense. So it's really about like opening up your imagination. But yeah, it's all about like kind of focusing on yourself and having these firm values, that you subscribe to that kind of guide your life, principles, values, morals, whatever. But also another way I see it is just like and especially in relation to career, because it is conjunct the uh the midheaven in a different sign that's still 3 degrees away, how this passive tendency to not take enough risks and to want the known path can have an effect on your highest potential and growth. Um, the Sirius in Leo, asteroid series, 12th house, you know, that in general makes someone who's playful, definitely loves to have fun, uh, very fun person for sure, 100%. Very funny, definitely funny as fuck for sure. I can't see you not being funny. Um, and yeah, just like the inner child is like the high energy of Leo, authentic self-expression, doing it for yourself as opposed to for the views when it comes to creativity. Um, and yeah, just like helping others who are suffering is like you nurture yourself by when you do that. Um, when you're giving to the universe, feeling very good. Um, yeah, and like you can feel nurtured with the Leo when you're kind of expressing yourself creatively and receiving praise, and also like you like to show others praise when they're kind of like expressing that in themselves, their talents, and yeah, yeah. Pluto in the third. All right, so that can create sibling stuff. It's kind of like there's Venus there, so it's like good, but then Pluto can create potential difficulties, but really it's about it gives them like a really strong and probing mind, very powerful communicator. The mission is to really, there can be power struggles with the siblings, but the mission is really to really learn to speak your truth, and to not give in to society's ways. And it goes back to that North Node mission. They're both in the same house. So going deep within yourself, going through the death rebirth transformation, and then that leads to these big changes. Now, yeah. So, and you have I say this one. Yeah, so it's really good home energy. Very good for family too. Like later on in life, or if you have kids, it's very good. And it's really good for, for like being comfortable in old age, and just within yourself. Juno in Sagg means that your ideal partner is someone who is expansive, who opens your mind, who's open-minded, who has some level of curiosity about the world, and who helps you open up more in that kind of philosophical sense. And who in the fourth house, who you almost feel like that, like super comfortable, like that person like feels like home. You get like, yeah. And if you are someone who travels, or who will travel or whatever, you'll always like want to have wherever you're staying when you're traveling feel very homey and feel very grounding. And there can be also like lots of like Sagittarian expansion within the home itself. Okay, so then Palace in the ninth in Taurus, gives you ninth house, the Palace gives you the ability to really see the big picture. And also like in Taurus, the ability to see like the beauty in nature, the beauty in the arts, and just in other people as well. It's great for like common sense. It can make someone who's really good with feeling with their hands, or through any kind of like earth type energy, earth magic. And it's conjunct your south node, so you could have like pathway skills in that very thing. They just have to be uncovered. That's in the 11th in Cancer. Just someone who want it's like almost like the world, um like their friends or their family type deal, and very committed to family and loved ones, especially when they need you. But if you get hurt by someone closest to you, this is also the kind of Pisces thing. There can be that escapist and fear of really trusting again. And 11th house is just like gives you this really great ability to work well in groups with people who have like the common belief system and visions as you. So yeah, let's see this. Okay, talk about that. Oh, no. Karma conjunct your descendants. So once again, it repeats itself over and over. Your relationships are, very like it's shown itself like 3 or 4 different times in the chart where there's just like a lot of fate and karma playing out in your relationship. And you have Mark Tab, a fixed star, which is on your moon. Very good for riches, honors, but there's also some danger to it, like with the risks. Watching out for accidents. So yeah. Then well, Althea's there, I know that. Yeah, so Althea is there. Like a bunch of plants like stuck together. If I showed you the screen, it's just like so many plants because I have all the stars that I look at in asteroids. So Alcyon, midheaven, it's just good for leadership. It's like the Pleiades. I mean, it can be difficult. It can lead to some like public disgrace potentially. It's Pleiades. Very ambitious. Maybe something to do with the eyes. Also, some people there can be like some issues with eyes. Mm. It's like the grandson. So yeah, it's yeah, optimistic, peaceful, lots of voyages. But yeah, very adventurous, but like there's the risk of you have to watch out for dangers to the eyes and injuries to the face. Mm, a lot of times it it gives better eyesight. And that's like physical and metaphysical. And of course, being a Pisces moon can make you like psychic or very, very, very intuitive. So okay. Um, and we went through all these, so yeah. Alrighty, that is everything. Hope you enjoyed. Happy birthday. Happy I could get out to you before then. And yeah, talk to you later. And yes, yes, yes. Gonna load this up right now. All right. Ciao.